Well, when the pandemic hit, there was panic.
Overnight, everything closed. People weren't given warning that there won't be work anymore tomorrow and that they won't be allowed out and that their supplies are going to run short. For many people, that meant that they didn't have food.
Some people suffered, from the mental stress of what was the past couple of years. Some people had one person lose a family member. I mean, there's so many ways, but everybody was affected in some way on our human services impact.
There's so much going on and people are so confused and overwhelmed. They did not know where to get the food from. They had no idea where to turn to and how to access food.
And the demand for food just shot up overnight.
In addition to the skyrocketing need, our nonprofit and faith-based food distributors saw a drop in volunteers, a drop in donations. They were looking at massive disruptions in the food supply chain and the need to completely overhaul their operations due to social distancing requirements.
Food bank shelves were emptying out. We had many distributors who had many cars in line. The food was gone, they were having to turn people away, and it was a really scary and terrible time.
We started to hear about an increased need in food assistance across the county, among other things, and so related to COVID, people being sick and homebound, and how do they get food there, and so we had to really think outside the box.
When you're in a response mode, right? We have to move quickly to, okay, we need to make sure we have everyone involved. How do we do that? How do we get people on board? 3, how do we get funding in place to make sure we're able to respond in a very accurate way?
And so we came into that and we needed a strategy and we needed funding and we needed coordination all at once.
The county government turned to us in the early days of the pandemic and asked for the Food Council support in coordinating the community response. And so we, along with the Health and Human Services, the Office of Emergency Management, as well as with Manna Food Center and the Capital Area Food Bank and so many other critical partners, were able to form this collaboration that now is the Food Security Task Force.
And in the course of 2 weeks, we were able to develop a strategy to start moving food through the system. We made our first significant food purchases within 3 days of operation. And what was incredibly inspiring to me was how fast all the players came to the table. I remember having the first conversations with Manna and Capital Area Food Bank within hours of coming on, and they had ideas and they had creative and incredibly dynamic solutions, and we started acting on that immediately.
And we've learned so many exceptional lessons from this collaboration, that there are some things that only government can do or that government does best. So collective buying power, leveraging procurement strategies, being able to connect federal dollars that are given to local governments to support the community.
We were buying food, we were giving grants to food assistance providers to purchase their own food, and we really focused on culturally appropriate foods because it was people of color who were having more difficulties with COVID. It was hitting them harder.
We built an infrastructure of a relationship that is going to benefit the county for years. The relationships, the partnerships, the community building. And moreover, I think because we did do a big effort to reach communities that were previously ignored, we now have these people who realize, hey, there is government here, there are services, there are nonprofits, there are ways to get help.
We decided at the Food Security Task Force to establish a call center, which would be integrated into the entire network of information and referral systems that already exist in the county, so that people who need the food will have a very easy way, one call, one email, that they would receive a very comprehensive assessment of what their food needs are and figure out a tailored approach to whatever resources we could offer them.
It was a dedication to the community and the mission. And you have to remember, this was at a time when we didn't know really what the effects of COVID were going to be. We weren't sure what kind of masks you needed to have. We didn't know about community transmission rates. We just knew it was scary, it was happening, it was killing our neighbors, and people were hungry.
So I am glad to hear that with our Food Security Task Force, we've seen this problem, we communicated this problem up to the county leadership, and they are going to create an office that hopefully we can continue trying to address these problems, connect these problems.
That's probably one of our largest successes from a task force perspective, was to be able to advocate for an actual office that that does this, that deals with food systems resiliency.
In Montgomery County, we shouldn't accept any level of hunger as inevitable. And I think that's really our next step, is to take the infrastructure and the community that we've built around this issue and ask ourselves how we can focus more on reducing the number of individuals relying on this system and switch our metric from how many individuals are we serving, start asking why are there so many individuals that need this level of help and support.
We don't want to just measure food about how much food we put out. The ultimate goal of a food program in many ways is to put itself out of business.